The day Emma Morgan walked through the door of Mike Sullivan's coffee shop was the day his carefully constructed walls began to crumble. He didn't know it yet, how could he? 3 years of raising 8-year-old Lily alone had taught him that vulnerability was a luxury he couldn't afford. But sometimes life has other plans, even for those determined to face it alone. Hey there, welcome to Real Life Stories. If this is your first time here, I'm sharing authentic human experiences that might just change your perspective. If something in this story touches your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to join our community of storytellers and listeners. Every like helps these stories reach someone who might need to hear them today. Mike hadn't always been so guarded. Before Lily's mother abandoned them both for a new life across the country, he'd been different, optimistic, trusting, open. The Mike who existed now worked 16-hour days between his small coffee shop and his freelance graphic design projects, collapsing into bed only to wake before dawn and do it all again. His heart had only one occupant, his daughter. Everyone else could stay firmly outside the walls. "Daddy, my science project is due tomorrow," Lily announced one evening, her small face serious behind her glasses. "I forgot to tell you." Mike rubbed his eyes, exhaustion seeping through every muscle. The bills on the kitchen counter weren't going to pay themselves, and his biggest design client was expecting drafts by morning. "Okay, sweetheart. What's it about?" "The solar system. We need to make planets." 3 hours later, surrounded by painted styrofoam balls, pipe cleaners, and a glue gun that had seen better days, Mike realized they were missing Saturn's rings. The craft store would be closed. Lily was finally asleep on the couch, her glasses askew, and Mike felt the familiar weight of inadequacy pressing down. He was failing her. He was always failing her. The bell above his coffee shop door jingled at precisely 7:05 the next morning. Mike barely looked up from the espresso machine he was cleaning. "Be with you in a moment." "No rush," came the reply, a voice warm with a hint of laughter. "I've got nowhere to be until 9. When he finally raised his head, the woman standing at his counter took him by surprise. Not because of her striking features or the way sunlight caught in her curly hair, but because she was holding a stack of thin cardboard circles. "You're Mike Sullivan, right? I'm Emma Morgan, I just moved into the apartment above yours. Your daughter stopped by yesterday and mentioned a solar system emergency. I used to teach elementary school science, so I had these from an old project." The cardboard circles were perfectly cut, already painted in shimmering gold. Saturn's rings. A solution to a problem he'd been dreading explaining to Lily when she woke. Thank you," he managed, taking the rings. "That's really kind." "No problem. I'm a night owl anyway. Plus, I heard about your coffee from 3 separate neighbors. They say it's the best in town, which I desperately need after unpacking boxes until 2 a.m. Despite himself, Mike felt a small smile forming. First one's on the house, then. As a thank you. Emma became a morning regular. 7:05, like clockwork. At first, their conversations were brief: weather, neighborhood news, Lily's latest adventures. But gradually, something shifted. Maybe it was the day Emma shared that she'd left teaching after losing her brother to cancer, wanting a fresh start in a new town. Maybe it was when Mike found himself telling her about how he'd converted his grandmother's recipes into the pastries that kept his small business afloat after his wife left. Or perhaps it was the rainy Tuesday when Lily's school called. She'd developed a high fever, but Mike was slammed with the morning rush and his only employee had called in sick. "I can get her," Emma offered, overhearing his panicked phone conversation. "I'm a certified substitute teacher with background checks to prove it. I can bring her here or watch her at your place until you're done." Mike's instinct was to refuse. To handle it himself, somehow. To keep the walls intact. But Lily's needs came first, always. That evening, he found Emma and Lily on the living room floor, surrounded by picture books, both fighting off sleep. Lily's fever had broken, and she was curled against Emma's side like she'd known her forever. She insisted on reading me her favorite stories, Emma explained softly. I think I've been thoroughly educated on the adventures of Princess Robot Nightlight. Something unfamiliar stirred in Mike's chest. Something he'd thought long buried. The change wasn't immediate. Mike had spent too long protecting himself to simply let someone in overnight. But Emma's patience was remarkable. She never pushed, never demanded more than he could give. She simply remained, steady, kind, surprisingly funny. When Lily's birthday approached, Mike found himself sharing his anxiety with Emma over closing time coffee. I want to give her a Rayal party this year. The kind with friends and decorations and everything kids are supposed to have. But I don't know how to do any of that. Then let me help, Emma said simply. No strings attached. Just a friend helping a friend. The party was everything Mike had hoped for, streamers transforming their small apartment, cupcakes with Lily's favorite characters, games that had the children shrieking with laughter. As he watched Emma orchestrating a scavenger hunt, her curls bouncing with enthusiasm, Mike realized he was staring. And smiling. And feeling something that terrified him. That night, after Lily had crashed in a sugar-induced sleep surrounded by new toys, Mike and Emma sat on his balcony. Thank you, he said. Today meant everything to her. She's an amazing kid. You've done an incredible job, Mike. He shook his head. I'm barely keeping it together most days. That's not what I see, Emma replied. I see a man who rebuilt his entire life around his daughter. Who works himself to exhaustion to give her stability. Who makes her feel safe and loved every single day. I'm afraid, Mike admitted, the words escaping before he could stop them. All the time. Afraid of messing up. Afraid of not being enough. Emma's hand found his in the darkness. That fear? It just means you care deeply. It doesn't mean you're failing. The walls he'd built started to show their first real cracks that night. Not from Emma pushing against them, but from Mike himself beginning to question whether they were really keeping him safe, or just keeping him isolated. The next month brought new challenges. Mike's landlord sold the building housing his coffee shop, and the new owners planned to triple the rent. Finances that were already tight became impossible. Closing seemed inevitable. I've tried everything, he told Emma late one night, spreadsheets scattered across his kitchen table. New loans, second mortgages, cutting every possible expense. Nothing works. I'm going to lose everything I built. For the first time since his wife left, Mike broke down completely. Years of held-back tears finally escaped as Emma held him, her own eyes wet. You're not alone in this, she whispered. Not anymore. What happened next was unexpected. Emma, it turned out, had been saving to start her own children's bookstore for years. The dream had been put on hold after her brother's illness, but the money remained untouched. What if we combine forces, she suggested. A coffee shop with a children's book corner. Parents can relax with good coffee while kids explore books. We could even host reading hours, small events. I can't take your money, Emma. You're not taking anything. I'm investing in a partnership. In us. The word us hung between them, weighted with possibility. 2 months later, Stories and Steam opened its doors. The renovated space buzzed with excitement, comfortable chairs, bookshelves filled with colorful spines, the rich aroma of Mike's coffee blending with the scent of new pages. Lily had her own special corner where she helped younger children find the perfect adventure book. On opening night, after the last customer left, Mike found Emma arranging a display for tomorrow. Do you remember the day we met? He asked. She smiled. Saturn's rings. I was drowning that day. Drowning every day, really. After Beth left, I decided that keeping Lily safe meant keeping everyone else out. Including myself, in a way. I stopped living and just started surviving. Emma stood still, watching him carefully. I thought I was protecting my heart by closing it, Mike continued. But you showed me that a closed heart doesn't heal. It just stops beating properly. He took her hands in his. I'm still scared. I might always be a little scared. But I'm more afraid of missing this, missing us, than I am of getting hurt again. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home to a place he'd forgotten existed. That night, as Lily slept peacefully and Emma's head rested against his shoulder while they planned summer reading events, Mike realized something profound. Family wasn't always what you were born into or what you planned. Sometimes it found you when you least expected it, when you were convinced you didn't need it or deserve it. Sometimes healing looked like letting someone in, even when every instinct screamed to keep the doors locked. Sometimes courage wasn't fighting battles alone but allowing someone to stand beside you in the struggle. If you're watching this and feeling those walls around your own heart, remember Mike's journey. The right person won't demand you tear down your protection overnight. They'll simply wait patiently, offering small gifts of kindness, until you begin to wonder if perhaps those walls are keeping out the very light you need to grow. Life can break us in countless ways. The brave choice isn't pretending we're unbroken, it's allowing ourselves to heal, even when healing means becoming vulnerable again. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched something in your own experience, please share in the comments below. And remember that your story matters too, every chapter, even the difficult ones. Sometimes the most beautiful beginnings happen just when we think the story is over.